The restaurant overlooked the harbor, all floor-to-ceiling windows and white tablecloths that caught the Sunday morning light. My sister chose it, of course. Vanessa always chose places where she could be seen. I arrived 10 minutes early, ordered coffee, and watched sailboats drift past the pier. The invitation had surprised me. We hadn't spoken properly in 8 months, not since last Christmas when she'd announced her engagement and I'd been too tired to feign enthusiasm. There you are. Vanessa's voice cut through the ambient chatter. She swept in wearing designer everything, the kind of outfit that screamed success but whispered debt. Behind her came a man in his mid-30s, dark hair, sharp features, architect's hands. Liv, this is Marcus. Marcus, my older sister Olivia. His handshake was firm, professional. Nice to finally meet you. Vanessa talks about you. Does she? I smiled politely, wondering what version of me existed in those stories. We settled at the table. Vanessa ordered mimosas for everyone without asking, then launched into wedding planning details. Venues, flowers, guest counts. Marcus listened with the patience of someone who'd heard it all before, but his eyes kept drifting to me with an expression I couldn't quite read. Curiosity maybe. Or confusion. So Olivia, he said during a pause in Vanessa's monologue, what do you do? Vanessa answered before I could. Oh, lives between things right now. Her laugh was bright, dismissive. She's been unemployed for a while. You know how it is. Some people just take longer to figure life out. The waiter arrived with mimosas. I watched bubbles rise in golden liquid and said nothing. That's tough, Marcus said carefully. What field were you in before? She did some drafting work. Vanessa interjected again, waving her hand vaguely. Nothing major. Administrative stuff mostly. Marcus's brow furrowed slightly, but he nodded. The conversation moved on. His firm's latest projects, Vanessa's promotion at the marketing agency she claimed to work for, their planned honeymoon in Santorini. I sipped my mimosa and counted the sailboats. 12 visible from our window. Lucky number. Actually, Marcus said, pulling out his phone, I wanted to show you both something. We just secured a major renovation project. The waterfront complex downtown. It's a historic preservation thing, really exciting. He scrolled through photos. Glass towers catching sunset. Geometric facades. Green spaces integrated into urban design. It looked vaguely familiar, though I couldn't place why. Beautiful, Vanessa cooed, leaning close. Who designed it originally? That's the interesting part, Marcus said, still scrolling. The original architect was fairly unknown, worked mostly in sustainable urban design in the early 2010s. The firm wants to honor the original vision while updating for modern standards. He pulled up the project file. I watched his thumb move across the screen, saw him navigate to the architectural credits, saw his eyes scan the text, then watched him go absolutely still. The color drained from his face so fast I thought he might faint. His grip on the phone tightened until his knuckles went white. Marcus. Vanessa touched his arm. What's wrong? He didn't answer. Just stared at his phone, then at me, then back at his phone. His jaw worked like he was trying to form words and couldn't quite manage it. You're chin, he said finally. His voice came out rough, disbelieving. My stomach dropped. I'm sorry. I kept my tone neutral, but my heart was already racing. Olivia Chin. You designed the waterfront complex. He turned the phone toward me. There it was, the original architectural proposal dated 2012 with my name in the credits. This is your work. Vanessa laughed, high and nervous. That's ridiculous. Liv doesn't design buildings. She barely graduated college. These are your renderings, Marcus continued, scrolling faster now, pulling up image after image. Your signature style, the integration of natural light, the sustainable materials, the way you blend public and private space. He looked at me with something like awe. You won the Regional Design Award for this project. It's in every urban planning textbook published after 2013. The restaurant suddenly felt too small, too bright. Marcus, she's confused with someone else, Vanessa insisted, her voice pitching higher. My sister doesn't. Vanessa. Marcus's tone changed, hardened. He swiped to another folder on his phone. Last month when we were discussing my portfolio, you showed me some renderings. Said they were concept work you'd done for a client. Do you remember? Vanessa's smile froze. I don't. They were mixed-use development concepts. Residential towers with integrated retail. Rooftop gardens. Solar panel integration. He pulled up the images. I complimented your eye for sustainable design. I don't see what. These are Oh Chen's early sketches for the waterfront complex. Marcus's voice was deadly quiet. These exact images are in the project archive. You showed me your sister's work and claimed it as your own. The mimosa glass in Vanessa's hand trembled. It was for inspiration. I never said. You absolutely did. Marcus set his phone on the table with a soft click. You told me you'd been freelancing in architectural design. That you'd studied at Parsons. That the renderings were from your portfolio. I wanted to disappear. To sink through the floor and keep falling until I hit bedrock. How long have you been lying to me? Marcus asked Vanessa, but his eyes stayed on me. About everything? Vanessa's face crumpled. It's not like that. I wanted you to see me as successful. As someone on your level. By stealing your sister's work? His voice rose slightly, drawing glances from nearby tables. By telling me she's unemployed when she's clearly an accomplished architect? I said quietly. Both of them turned to look at me. I was an accomplished architect. I don't practice anymore. Marcus blinked. Why not? Burnout. The recession hit right after waterfront was completed. Projects dried up. I shifted to property development instead. Lower profile, more stable income. Property development, Marcus repeated slowly. Then his eyes widened. Wait. Chin Property Holdings. Oh no. He was scrolling again, pulling up property records, business registrations. You own Chin Property Holdings. The firm that manages half the rental properties in the downtown corridor. Not half, I said weakly. Maybe a third. Vanessa had gone very pale. Liv, what is he talking about? Marcus pulled up an address. 338 Riverside Drive, Unit 402. This is your building, isn't it? I said nothing. Vanessa, he said, his voice dropping to something cold and final. What's your address? 338 Riverside Drive, she whispered. Unit 402. The silence that fell over our table was suffocating. Your sister is your landlord, Marcus said. Not a question. A statement of fact that hung in the air like smoke. Vanessa's mouth opened and closed. I didn't know. Yes, you did, I said softly. The exhaustion that had been building for years suddenly crashed over me. I told you when you moved in 3 years ago. I gave you a family discount on rent. 60% below market rate. You never said. I said it at the lease signing. You laughed and said it was nice having connections. I looked at Marcus. The rent is $800 a month for a 2-bedroom with harbor views. Market rate for that unit is $2,100. Marcus did the math in his head. I could see it happening. 3 years times 12 months times the difference. She's saved you almost $47,000, he said. Vanessa was shaking. I thought it was just a good deal. I didn't realize. You told me you paid $1,800 a month, Marcus continued, his voice getting quieter, more dangerous. You complained about rent costs. You said you barely scraped by. You asked me to pay for dinners because of your tight budget. I do pay $1,800, Vanessa said desperately. I have other expenses. Where does the extra $1,000 go? I asked. Not accusatory. Just tired. Vanessa stared at her mimosa. Things. Clothes, travel, the wedding savings. You've been lying about your rent, Marcus said slowly, stealing your sister's architectural designs, claiming to have a job and qualifications you don't have, and letting me believe your sister is unemployed while she's actually subsidizing your entire lifestyle. He stood up. The chair scraped against hardwood with a sound like bone breaking. Marcus, please. Vanessa reached for him. Don't. He stepped back, his architect's hands raised like he was physically warding off the truth. I need to think. I can't be here right now. Please don't leave. I can explain. You've been explaining for 6 months, Marcus said. Every word was a lie. He looked at me one last time. Miss Chin, I'm sorry. For all of this. Your work on Waterfront was brilliant. It deserved better than being plagiarized by someone who can't even acknowledge what you've given her. Then he walked out. Just like that. The door closed behind him with the soft pneumatic hiss of expensive hinges. Vanessa sat frozen, mascara starting to streak. Around us, brunch continued. The clink of silverware, murmured conversations, the distant cry of gulls outside. "You ruined everything," she finally whispered. "I didn't ruin anything," I said. "I just stopped being invisible." He was perfect. The wedding was planned. Everything was perfect. Everything was a lie. I stood, leaving enough cash on the table to cover my mimosa and tip. "You built your relationship on a foundation of deception. It was always going to collapse. You don't understand what it's like," Vanessa said, her voice breaking. "Living in your shadow. Being the one who didn't achieve anything. You're living in an $800 apartment that should cost $2,100, I said quietly. "You've been given opportunities, support, a safety net most people would kill for. What you do with that is your choice. But claiming my work is yours? Pretending I don't exist while you profit from my generosity? That ends today. Are you raising my rent?" Her voice turned sharp, defensive. "No." I picked up my purse. "I'm not renewing your lease. You have 60 days to find a new place. Market rate apartments downtown start around $2,000 a month. I suggest you budget accordingly." Vanessa's face went white. "You can't do that. I'm your sister." "Exactly," I said. "I'm your sister. Not your bank. Not your ghost. Not the person you erase whenever it's convenient." I walked out of the restaurant into brilliant sunshine. The harbor sparkled. Sailboats drifted past expensive yachts. Somewhere overhead, gulls called to each other in voices that sounded like freedom. My phone buzzed before I reached my car. A text from Marcus. "Thank you for not playing along with the deception. I'm sorry you've been dealing with this. Your waterfront design changed how I think about urban space. Hope you're doing well." I typed back, "Thank you. Good luck with the renovation. Honor the green spaces. That was always the heart of it." His response came immediately, "I will. And for what it's worth, you're not unemployed, you're just operating on a different level than the rest of us." I smiled despite myself, then drove home to my own apartment. A penthouse unit I'd designed myself, with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the water and a rooftop garden that bloomed year-round. That evening I pulled out my old drafting table from storage. Blew dust off the surface. Set out fresh paper. For the first time in years I felt the pull of creation, the itch to design something new. Maybe Marcus was right. Maybe I wasn't unemployed. Maybe I'd just been waiting for permission to exist again. And maybe, finally, I'd given it to myself. 60 days later, Vanessa moved out. She left the keys in an envelope under my door with no note. I heard through family that she and Marcus never reconciled. That she moved back in with our parents. That she finally got a real job at an actual marketing firm, starting from the bottom. I hope she learned something. I hope she found herself beneath all those lies. But honestly, that's not my story anymore. I'm writing my own now, in clean lines and open spaces, in buildings that breathe and designs that endure. And this time my name is on every page.